Muslim commie Zohran Mamdani had such big plans, big hopes for New York City.
It's true. As your next mayor, I will freeze your rent.
Aw, he's so smiley. Let's check in and see how it's going.
In order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits trust reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
Oh, I hate to say I told you so, but you guys are screwed. Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. You know, one thing that the media hates more than anything is when President Trump speaks the truth and calls them out, says what they really are. They really don't like it when President Trump says this.
One thing I have been, even the enemy, because they are the enemy, what they've said, even that enemy too, and they're really the enemy. They're the enemy of the people, the press.
Everyone was like, oh, the press members were, aghast. Oh my God, what is he talking about? We're just seeking real truth. We're just following the facts where they lead. Like they can't wrap their minds, their teeny tiny little pea brains around why anyone would have such bad things to say about them. I mean, you see it over and over again, whether it's President Trump, whether it's Caroline Leavitt, whoever it is, whether it's Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida, whoever it is that is calling them out for the liars and losers that they are, they can't comprehend it. And meanwhile, as they are sitting there not comprehending it, they are continuing to produce absolute shit, which is just the complete opposite of what we believe as Americans. Like they are anti-American, they are un-American, they are America last. And while they are all of these things, they are also so stupid that they don't understand basic tenets of the country in which they receive all of these opportunities and all of these pleasures and all of these privileges. It's pretty incredible. Now, I'm going to play for you. This is not fake news. This is not AI generated. This is an actual, real report that CNN is making, warning about, guys, it's very serious, the evils of Christianity. Watch.
Well, for the past several months, I've been working on a special project examining the growing influence of Christian nationalism in America. If you're not familiar, Christian nationalism is an ideology rooted in the belief that our country was founded as a Christian nation and that our laws and institutions should reflect Christian values.
Yes, ma'am, are you okay? Like, where is your confusion? I don't understand what you're confused about. Do you know history? Have you ever cracked open a history book? The vast majority of founding fathers were some variety of Christian. They had the different sects, which of course is what freedom of religion was all about. That's what it was really angling towards was, you had Protestant Christian, you had Catholic, you had the Quakers. Now you had Washington, who was agnostic but still agreed with the values. Jefferson, Franklin were deists, but it's all in our founding documents. They made this very clear, ma'am. You're spending several months looking into this. It's like, it's really basic stuff, ma'am. The first sentence, literally the first sentence of the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence. This was like the beginning. The foundation of this country mentions God. Did you find that in all of your investigation, Pamela? When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Nature's God, all caps, or the G is capitalized. On top of that, I don't know how much Pamela makes, But I'd imagine she makes a whole lot of money. I'd imagine she makes a shit ton more money than me to stand there and lie to the American people and try to gaslight them and try to explain to them why Christianity is evil. And people are trying to make it sound like it was some sort of foundation of this country. What? I need to investigate that. Ma'am, it's on our money. It's on the currency that you have way more of than most of us. In God we trust. It's right, like it's right there. Maybe you're just swiping the card. You haven't actually used cash in a while. So maybe you just forgot that. I hope that your months-long investigation sometime, somehow, some way led you to that little tidbit, that little nugget. Now, I could go on. Do I need to bring up the Pledge of Allegiance? You know, the thing that you guys are trying to get us to not say in schools because it says that dastardly word. Under God, can't have that. And somehow, this woman, Pamela Brown, has spent several months just scratching her head trying to research a way to gaslight America into thinking that these basic founding principles never existed. Now, you might be thinking, boy, that's shitty. And it is. But I regret to inform you it gets worse. They are now trying to paint Charlie Kirk, because, you know, you can't say God rest his soul. You can't just say it's a tragedy. You have to make him the villain in the afterlife. And now they're like, well, his death is being used as a launching point for this evil Christianity movement.
With the assassination of Charlie Kirk last year, experts say it was a pivotal moment for the movement and an occasion where the tragedy of his loss unified Christian nationalists and the Trump administration as they honored him.
September 21st, 2025.
America is a nation in grief, a nation in shock, and a nation in mourning. Charles James Kirk was heinously murdered.
That young man, I forgive him.
Memorial service was one of the most potent examples of this shift in our culture that we're experiencing right now, where a large segment of American Christians are being activated by these ideas, radicalized by these ideas that say that they are the persecuted ones and that they need to stand up for Christians' rights.
By doing what, sir? By doing what? By the way, I mean, doesn't this scholar look exactly how you would predict? Doesn't he look exactly how you would imagine that he? Stephen, give me theory. Yeah, visiting Matthew Taylor, visiting scholar from Georgetown University Center on Faith and Justice. You look exactly how I could have predicted. And you're going to sit there and you're going to lecture me on what? Christianity? On believing in God? What, are you denying that Christians are constantly targeted in this country? Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten how the Biden administration actually went after Christians? Sir, are you living on this planet? Because yesterday, we just aired an episode in which I talked about another trans shooting. We've got all of these transgenders, and when they feel like they are being persecuted or oppressed, even though they're not, it's the mental delusion, they actually go out and kill people. What did we do? What did we do that day? I was in that stadium. What did we do that day? We gathered there, not just to celebrate Charlie's life, but to celebrate Jesus. That's not radical at all. He didn't show your work, sir, but he can't. He can't, because he's just an absolute ghoul, just a lying ghoul. I mean, it is so reprehensible the lies that they are spewing, the rhetoric that they're spewing with absolutely no evidence. Like, what do you mean they feel like they've got to go out there and stand up for the rights of Christians? By what? Praising God? Like, by gathering in a stadium and praising God? I don't understand. Like, that's really radical. You guys better lock your doors at night. The Christians might come knocking. Now, again, I regret to inform you, it gets worse because there's an interesting point that they keep hammering in this piece of shit documentary. I find this one to be incredibly fascinating.
I think that Christian nationalism is going to reshape democracy.
In this one nation under God, is liberty for all?
We know the way that they treat women. We know how bad it is.
Look at me. I'm sitting here on my own set with a show. And it's a hard life. It's a hard life being a woman as a Christian in America. Like, what? How poorly Christians treat women? Like, how poor women are treated so terribly in this country. Like, that made the promo. They decided on the cutting room floor, this was a pivotal moment in that documentary, and that was what they were going to include. Now, I wonder, as we discuss religion and how dangerous and evil Christians are, everyone who believes in God is a Christian nationalist. Everyone who believes that our country was founded on Christianity and Christian principles and beliefs is actually evil. I just wonder, in all of this months-long investigation, if Pamela Brown has ever done the same type of investigation on, I don't know, like how poorly Muslims treat women. I just wonder, Pammy, have you looked into that before you decided to make the claims that you just claimed, before you decided to have mentally ill white women on your show that like are, I just get treated so poorly by these Christians. They tell me I should believe in God and I just don't want to. Like, I wonder, because let me tell you, you would have a field day creating a documentary about how, say, Muslims treat women. And I have exclusive content, Pammy, the first clips that you should include. And unlike you guys, it took my team just a few hours to compile these instead of the several months it took P-Brain Pamela Brown. This is incredible, really. I mean, listen, I've got a great team, but I gotta wonder what you guys are doing over there with your thumbs up your asses, whining about Christianity while not being able to find any solid, concrete examples of why Christianity actually is so terrible. Meanwhile, I'll just go ahead and do your work for you for your next documentary, which I'm sure you will be on very, very soon, on how Muslims view women. Let me play for you this cleric who talks about the verse in the Quran which actually encourages beating women. On the issue of women beating, wife beating, let me start by relating a story pointing to the Quranic verse. As for those women, admonish them, refuse to share their beds, and beat them. The Prophet Muhammad said, do not hit her in the face and do not make her ugly. If you want to beat her on the leg, on places where it doesn't leave a permanent mark on the back. According to our understanding of Islam, the beating is intended solely to convey a message to the wife. I'm angry with you. Period. End of story. That's them, not me. That's their argument, not mine. And he's like, yeah, but Muhammad, our false prophet Muhammad, said that it was cool. Muhammad encourages beating your wives. I mean, don't do it on her face. You don't want to. Everyone would see. You don't want to mess up her face. Do it where no one can see. Wow. But tell me more, Pamela Brown, on how Christianity is so evil to women. How about the fact that it's baked into the false religion, Islam? It's baked into the Muslim religion to be pedophiles. Muhammad was a pedophile. And it's actually like they tell you, encourage you, you should marry girls as soon as they hit puberty, actually.
When she reaches puberty, she's mature, she's ready to get married if she chooses. Their laws are based on nonsense. We got nothing to be ashamed of, wallahi. Wallahi, if the East and the West, the North and the South came to say anything confirmed by my beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I would say he is right and the entire globe with every single man is wrong.
Islam puts the age of the woman for marriage at puberty and above. And as a general rule, for all people in all time and all places, at puberty and above.
Child marriage is mubah. It's not haram. It's not wajib. It's mubah.
It's not haram. It's not haram. It's great. We love child marriage. Child marriage is amazing. That is the Muslim religion. Nothing from CNN on that. No word from CNN on any of that. You're going to give me some mentally ill white woman blubbering about how terribly Christians have treated her. What, ma'am, what did they show me on the doll where they hurt you? What, like, did they invited you to, I don't know, attend a worship service? Oh, no. Meanwhile, Muslim women in Muslim majority countries are like getting stoned to death if they are unfaithful. They're getting their genitals mutilated. They're having, honor killings. If they bring dishonor to the family, all bets are off. You're probably never going to see that woman again because her father or her brother or her uncle is going to kill her, and they actually value that. Like, that is something that they think is part of their, you can't bring dishonor to the family, otherwise Allah might be mad. WWMD, what would Muhammad do? Now that is evil. That is a scary religion. And be that as it may, I don't see that coverage from CNN. Actually, their coverage of Muslims, highly favorable. Let me give you one. 9 tropes about Muslims that are a product of Islamophobia. They're just the tropes. You don't be Islamophobic. It is an irrational fear to be scared of Islam. Islam is so welcoming. It's so embracing. It believes in rights and freedoms and liberty and no oppression whatsoever. I mean, guys, get real. Let me give you this cinematic masterpiece that is called Muslim in America. I could use a hug. I could use a hug. Watch.
To be Muslim in America today
has been very difficult. It's challenging.
It's some challenges.
I could use a hug.
You're going to have to show me that you're not wearing a suicide vest before I give you a hug. I don't trust it. I don't like it. And let me tell you something. If you are upset with being a Muslim in America today, I got an option for you. You can leave. You can leave. You can go to a Muslim majority country, see how things are going over there. You could do that right now. By the way, you could also tell your buddies, maybe you guys should stop blowing up Americans. Maybe you guys should stop waging war on anyone who doesn't believe in Allah. That might help. That might help with our favorability in this country. And yet, if you ask them to do that, if you ask them, hey, you should speak out against, it's like they try to say, oh, it's just there's peaceful Muslims too. And it's just the radicalized ones who act like that. I don't know. I don't hear any of these so-called peaceful Muslims calling out the radicalized ones. Don't you find that peculiar? I'd like to, let me play you another CNN clip. This is Van Jones. They thought they were like, oh, it's going to be so fun. Or his name is Van, and we're going to put him in a van. And he's going to have conversations with people. So this is Van Jones in a van with Muslims, which I don't believe is a good idea. But here it is.
Trump's Supreme Court travel ban win was especially painful for a lot of Muslims in America. Now, look, the final version may have been watered down, but I'm old enough to remember back when Donald Trump was calling for a complete and total shutdown of all Muslims entering the U.S. And hate crimes against Muslims in the United States have actually spiked a great deal since his election. According to the FBI, those attacks rose by 19% in 2016. So I got back in my van. I traveled to Paterson, New Jersey. I want to hear directly from the people who live there. How are they dealing with all this stuff? And I want you to hear directly from them. Take a look. What does it mean to be a Muslim in Trump's America?
I was walking down the street and a guy just saw me and he was like, oh, like, I can't believe you're covered like this. And he's like, oh, that's why Trump should ship you guys all back out. Yeah. Like, ship me back where?
So he just mentioned hate crimes. And then he just said, like, yeah, some man said Trump should send you back. Like, oh, okay, that's not a crime. Oh, no, that's so terrible. I just said, oh, gosh, that really gets me in comparison to the 3,000 plus American lives that were lost in the most deadly attack on American soil. Let me weight these and see which one I actually give a shit about and which one I don't. Like, that's where I'm at. I guess it's just good that was a van and he didn't take them on a plane, you know? I just don't understand. Probably the smartest thing he's ever done. Go ahead and subscribe to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Smash the like button and comment. It'll help us in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us. By the way, I heard that yesterday there was like a glitch in YouTube. Everything was down. And you guys, the live chat messed up. So welcome back to those of you who are watching in the live chat. Just make sure, I know you're like, you can do the thumbs up in the chat and that's fine, but you got to go to the native video and hit the thumbs up and comment on the native video as well. It'll help us out. And go over and subscribe to Sara Gonzales TX. It's our new YouTube channel. That's been a very interesting experiment. So make sure that you go subscribe there as well for exclusive content. Want to thank our sponsor, PreBorn. So PreBorn is there just doing God's work. I could not believe this when I saw this. Last year, PreBorn rescued over 80,000 babies. Over 80,000 babies. And guys, a lot of that is because of you, because I know you guys have been very, very loyal and dedicated in helping these babies, because every single day, thousands of women, if they go into a Planned Parenthood, they're hearing the same devastating lie. Abortion is your only option. You can't do this by yourself. It's too expensive. You don't have the money. You don't have the support. There's no hope. Just kill your baby. That's not what they're doing over at PreBorn Network clinics. They're actually showing these women the baby on the ultrasound. They're letting them listen to the heartbeat. And in that moment, that baby has double the chance of their life being saved. You know how it is if you're a parent. You see the baby. It's a life-changing moment, okay? So I'm just saying, how many ultrasounds can you help us sponsor? $28 provides one life-saving ultrasound. Let's make this year the biggest baby-saving year in history. You can go to preborn.com/Sarah to donate. That's $28 is one baby's life. How many babies' lives can you help us save? preborn.com/Sarah. Oh, there's a cage match a-brewing between, I gotta say, two of the most libtarded people that may have ever existed. And it's one of those things that you just sit there with your popcorn and you just root for injuries. Metaphorically speaking. I don't mean literally. I mean, in the war of words, you just root for injuries. It's a win-win. For me, honestly, Democrats going after Democrats, both of whom are running for Senate in Texas. So it's especially interesting to me. Now, it will be interesting to you because so goes Texas, so goes the country. And very notable, high-profile person here in the blue corner. You have Jasmine Crockett, the fake ghetto hood rat herself. And then in like the other blue retarded corner, you have Texas State Representative James Talarico. Now, you may be saying to yourself, who the hell is James Talarico? Although you may not, because over the past 24 hours, there has been so much hysteria, like liberal, retarded hysteria about him, thanks to Stephen Colbert. Watch.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast. You might have heard of this thing called the equal time rule, okay? It's an old FCC rule that applies only to radio and broadcast television, not cable or streaming, that says if a show has a candidate on during an election, they have to have all that candidate's opponents on as well. There's long been an exception for this rule, an exception for news interviews and talk show interviews with politicians. Now, that's crucial. Carr said he was thinking about dropping the exception for talk shows because he said some of them were motivated by partisan purposes.
I love that he says that like, oh, it's a crazy allegation that some talk shows are motivated by partisan purposes, political purposes. We all know no late night talk shows are political. Like, okay, buddy. All right. Sure. By the way, those of you who do know who James Talarico is, that was not him. The picture that he showed was not him. I was confused too. But he actually goes on to make some dumb joke about it later on. So that was not him. I'm aware. But they did this whole big production, this whole sob story because James Talarico wasn't allowed to come on CBS. President Trump hates freedom of speech. Oh no, President Trump's going to take away our freedom of speech. It's just like Jimmy Kimmel all over again. Oh no, we're going to cry about it. Yeah, it's just that you guys are going to be shocked to hear this. Once again, they lie. They lie. That's actually not true because CBS has already said that they did not pull Stephen Colbert's James Talarico interview. They put out a statement that said The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Talarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates, including Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. It was The Late Show itself that decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing the equal time options. I don't understand this career model of throwing your network under the bus when you know that it was actually just you. They have attorneys for a reason so that the attorneys can come to you and say, all right, look, here are the rules. Here are the rules. Here are how you can navigate the rules, but here are the rules. And they're like, CBS didn't let us air the interview. It's just that was a lie. It's just been actually, I think, a ploy to try and prop up this lame soy boy candidate because the Democrats know that if their candidate is Jasmine Crockett, they're they know that. Now, I would also argue they're screwed either way because James Talarico is not winning U.S. Senate in the state of Texas. That's not happening. But he is less of a train wreck and he is, I guess, less embarrassing. Now, again, the bar is very low. It's a low bar, but he is much less embarrassing than fake ghetto hood rat Jasmine Crockett. Now, he's actually raised $2.5 million after this stunt, but that's not even the craziest part. Jasmine Crockett is now getting butthurt that she's not the center of attention. She clearly, that is something that she craves very wholeheartedly. And so she wheeled out her early voting wig to make sure she could bring the spotlight back to her.
We did receive information suggesting that the federal government did not shut down this segment, number one. That is my understanding, that the federal government didn't shut this down, and we will do an official statement once we get another official statement that we anticipate is going to be coming from Paramount. All right, so we will read what they say, and then we'll go from there. It is our understanding that Colbert, either Mr. Colbert or CBS, decided that they would get on the air.
Is she on the runway?
This was because of a fear that the FCC may say something to them, and that there may have been advice to just have me on, and then they could clear the issue. It was my understanding that someone somewhere decided we just don't want to do that, and instead we're going to just do it this way.
I think she should just accuse Stephen Colbert of being racist. Isn't that them's the rules, right? Like Stephen Colbert must be racist. He didn't want to have a black woman on to talk about her Senate race. And we are going to give a statement when we get their statement, and then we're going to give a statement back, and then they might have another statement, and then we going to have another statement about that. Ma'am, you spent a minute saying absolutely nothing. Now, it's pretty crazy to see the juxtaposition of all of this, because you got to believe things are pretty bad for Jasmine Crockett if she is like siding with Trump on an issue. And these people are so delusional. They think that either of them are going to be able to flip Texas.
So happens that I happen to be the president's favorite person. Because I want you to remind them that they had every reason to be afraid. Because you, the people, have the power. Because you, the people, are not crazy.
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. This fake preacher who, by the way, I don't know, every time he talks, I'm like, he's gay, right? I don't think, well, you can be a preacher and be gay actually these days in the fake churches. So I don't even know. He seems gay. Can someone in the control room just verify? Is he married to a woman? I'd like to know. So you've got this like scrawny armed, he kind of reminds me of Beto, but somehow even scrawnier, because at least Beto had the height. You've got him, and then you've got this like dumb as a box of rocks, fake ghetto hood rat. I just love that they think that either of them would stand a chance. What world are they living in? I'm not sure, but I'd like to just give them a reminder that the 2024 presidential election did not go well. Oh, interesting. 56 to 42, a difference of 1.5 million votes. It was like the largest Republican lead since, I believe, 2012, if my memory serves me correctly. Also, the control room told me he does not have a spouse, and I think we know why. Now, I'm just saying, I don't think that the guy who basically looks like Alfredo sauce personified or this fake ghetto hood rat is going to sway all of these Texans and turn this. I just don't think this is going to do it for Texas.
Listen, I'm a gun-toting Texan, right? So I own firearms.
Can't you tell?
I'm licensed to carry, and I also care about agriculture. Way before I was running for the United States Senate, I served on the Ag Committee. I'm the girl who's actually lived in rural Texas. I'm the girl that has actually driven farm equipment.
Now do Missouri, Jasmine. Now do Missouri, please. Now, I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't just remind you guys, early voting is taking place right now. Make sure you go out and vote. Do not depend on your neighbors. Do not depend on your friends. Do not depend on your family members. Every single person needs to go out and vote for Ken Paxton in the Republican primary for United States Senate. We'll be right back. On another episode of I Told You So, it took less than 2 months for New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani to turn, I think, into a Batman villain. I think he's there. He has unveiled his new budget, and you guys are going to be shocked to hear this. You're going to be shocked to hear all of these promises of free everything, free child schools, free child care, free schools, free buses, free all the free shit. Doesn't have enough money to pay for all of the free shit. I should say free shit. So he's announced that he's basically taking the entire city hostage. And if the state government doesn't give in to his demands and implement his billionaire tax, he's going to make you pay.
For those who have watched budget after budget, it is tempting to assume that we are engaging in the same dance as our predecessors. Let me assure you, nothing about this is typical. That's why our solutions won't be either. There are two paths to bridge this gap. The first is the most sustainable and the fairest path. This is the path of ending the drain on our city and raising taxes on the richest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations. The onus for resolving this crisis should not be placed on the backs of working and middle-class New Yorkers. If we do not fix this structural imbalance and do not heed the calls of New Yorkers to raise taxes on the wealthy, this crisis will not disappear. It will simply return, year after year, forcing harder and harsher choices each time. And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path. Faced with no other choice, the city would have to exercise the only revenue lever fully within our own control. We would have to raise property taxes.
Oh, wow. I, for one, am super shocked. Like, who could have ever predicted that a Muslim commie would go on TV and lay out a list of terroristic demands? Well, clutch your pearls if you're wearing them. Like, he's just basically like, you, the state of New York that I don't actually have authority over, needs to do what I say, or else everyone pays for it. Everyone pays for it. I'm blowing their heads off. His proposed budget is, by the way, a whopping $127 billion. And he has a gap of like $5.4 billion. So he's got to find it out. Like, where's the money? I guess maybe print it. Could you guys print me some? No, you can't print me any more money. Where's the money going to come from? I know. We're just going to tax hardworking Americans more.
In order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits trust reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
Wow. That's a lot. I do appreciate his usage of the word raid. Like, he could have said something a little softer, like borrow from, or, we'll need some, or whatever. Like, he could have chosen a softer word, and instead he decided to use the term raid. We're going to raid the rainy day fund, which I find to be completely appropriate in this manner. So they're raiding the rainy day fund. They're taking from the retiree fund, and they're raising property taxes. This is the first property tax hike of its kind since 2003 over there. And they say that it's going to generate $3.7 billion in revenue in the next fiscal year, impacting more than 3 million residential units, over 100,000 commercial properties. And by the way, it's New York City, guys. So property taxes are not low. Already, as it stands, in New York City, it gets as high as almost 20%, 19.8% in New York City. Guess what? It's going up. It's going up. I hope you enjoy your free buses. I hope you enjoy your free government slop. It's going up, and everyone's going to pay for that because it turns out nothing in life is free. By the way, as he says, I don't, where are we going to find the money? I don't know what else to do. We have to have all of this. The budget allocates $1.2 billion for migrants. We use air quotes there. Migrants. So just know, as you sit there in New York City and you write out your bill for your property taxes and you see the devastating effects in your city of all of these policies, just know that the illegals are taken care of. Now, I'd like to refer you back to Zohran Mamdani's campaign promise where he was all smiles.
Wait, you're gonna freeze my rent?
Yes.
Did I hear rent freeze?
Yes, this guy's gonna freeze the rent.
No hike?
None.
This guy's gonna freeze the rent.
It's true. As your next mayor, I will freeze your rent.
I will freeze your rent. I don't know how you think that's going to happen, buddy. That money's got to be passed down somewhere. Look at him. Look at him. This is, oh man, I want a before and after of this picture right here. We'll save this. This will be the before. And then we need to start at just have the evolution of how it started and how it's going and just change. Cause obviously it's going to get worse and worse and worse over there. I don't know what people thought was going to happen. I don't know. It seems like every once in a while we have to explain to the Democrats, going full commie is never a good option. Having all of these socialistic programs, someone is going to have to pay for it. You can't, I understand the guy says it's free, but if you use this thing up here, you can reasonably understand that it can't possibly be free because the money has to come from somewhere. Oh, it's going to come from all of you. Now, I would imagine there are a lot of New Yorkers that are very upset about this, and they're like, this isn't what he told me. He told me my rent was going to be frozen and everything was going to be free. And they're like, where should we go? We're refugees now. Where should we go? I'd just like to tell you Texas is full. Texas is full. We would never vote for that bullshit in the first place, and we're full. No, thank you. Hard pass. Find somewhere else to go. You guys are just going to move there and you're going to vote for the same stupid, shitty policies because you're going to be like, this time it's going to work. By the way, as a reminder, I read a story that under Zohran Mamdani's leadership, they were inviting people of New York City, residents of New York City, to, complain about all of the housing, but it was only private housing that could apply. If you lived in government housing and you were upset about it, you were not welcomed to provide comment. How typical of a communist to do. All right, we've got more to come. We'll be right back. You know what I love? I love the sweet, rich irony when liberals, they start screaming about something and they say, this is absolutely the case. If X happens, then it must be Y. And they're like, every single case, no matter what. And then they have a moment where that comes back to bite them. And I've just been enjoying watching that with regard to the Epstein files, because they have been very clear that if your name, even just the mention of your name, is mentioned in the Epstein files, you are literally Hitler. You are the devil. You are Satan incarnate. And the whole play, remember, has been trying to get to Donald Trump. And the whole play has been, we want to see, why haven't they released the files? We want to see them. Because we know Donald Trump is just hiding it because he's an evil pedophile. Ooh. Well, of course, now we know the rest of the story. He was mentioned because Epstein hated him and he was basically an informant. Remember, Mike Johnson said it. It stands to reason. It was true. Epstein really didn't like Donald. And it's just been so beautiful watching all of these libs get a reality check, because it turns out they're showing up in the files too. So I get, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I guess they are evil as well. Let me give you one. Whoopi Goldberg. She apparently wanted to borrow Jeffrey Epstein's jet for personal reasons. I don't know why. She came up in an email. Whoopi Goldberg needs a plane to get to Monaco. John Lennon's charity is paying for it. They don't want to charter, so they're looking for private owners. Would you like to offer his plane? To which Jeffrey Epstein responded, well, it says no thanks, but as we know, he was a terrible speller, and he says no thanks. Now, I don't know what, that is embarrassing for Whoopi Goldberg. She's so bad that a convicted pedophile can't even stomach her. He's like, yeah, no thanks. I don't want to deal with that one. By the way, in case you were wondering, the communication was from 2013. This was after Jeffrey Epstein was already a publicly known convicted pedophile. What are you doing, Whoopi? Why are you? Listen, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You wanted to talk about how evil Donald Trump would be if he was listed in the files. I don't know. He wasn't the one who, after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted, still wanted to borrow his plane. And I will give you Whoopi actually responded to being named in the files. Here is what she had to say.
In the name of transparency, can you put up my name is in the files? Yes. And what does it say? It says, Whoopi needs a plane to get to Monaco. John Lennon's charity, it should say Julian Lennon's charity, is paying for it. They don't want to charter, so they're looking for private owners. Here's the info. And they give all the information, and they're saying, do you want to offer your G2? Okay.
And it looks like they said no thanks.
Yeah.
So in other words, anybody can be on this list.
Well, this is my point, because I'm telling you, when I tell you people are trying to turn me into, I wasn't his girlfriend.
We know
I
that.
wasn't his
You were
friend.
too old for him.
I was not only too old, but it was at a time, where this is just not. You used to have facts before you said stuff.
But Trump is on the list 38,000 times.
Well, I can't speak to him, but I'm speaking about me.
You can't.
I'm getting dragged. People actually believe that I was with him.
There's a lot to unpack there. Primarily, there's oh, you were too old for him. You were too old for him. This was after he was already a convicted sex predator. You were too old for him. Tee-hee. She's like, yeah, well, I actually didn't hear a reasonable explanation as to why Whoopi Goldberg wanted to associate with him at all, even use his G2, anything. Why would you? I mean, I can imagine the types of nasty stuff that's gone on that plane. I wouldn't want to be associated with it. So she still has some explaining to do. I'm still unclear on what her answer is. Oh, but Donald Trump was mentioned 38,000 times in the files. Find me an instance of Donald Trump, after knowing what he found out, still asking to be even loosely associated with Jeffrey Epstein, because what we know to be true is that when Donald Trump did find out, he said, you're banned from Mar-a-Lago. You can't come here anymore. You're disgusting. And then he cooperated with police. So I would say that actually Whoopi's response, I have more questions now than I do answers. But one thing is for sure. Now, all of a sudden, anybody can be on the list and it doesn't make them literally the devil. Isn't that interesting? No, I would say that. I mean, Whoopi, come on. You're a bad person. And you know you're a bad person. And you know you're hiding something. I'm just gonna leave that there.